Welcome back to this episode of the DCA podcast. I am going to be focusing and doing a deep dive on HYROX and nutrition for women specifically. So I have a lot of athletes that are competing and training for the next HYROX event. So I thought this would be a great introduction for you just to upskill your level of knowledge and awareness on what you need to be doing for eating and fueling appropriately for endurance and strength whilst training for HYROX. So I'm going to give you a brief introduction to us what we are going to cover during this short podcast episode. We are going to talk about the key macronutrient needs for HYROX specifically. I'm going to talk you through how to structure your meals around your workouts so that you can optimize your performance, which is something that you might just struggle to do with daily life getting on top of you. So I just want to bring that focus and awareness to you and plant that seed of what you need to be doing realistically. Hydration and electrolytes. Now, as women, we fluctuate with our hydration status and our electrolyte balance throughout our cycle, depending on where we are at with estrogen and progesterone. So that is something that you're going to need to be aware of because it can affect your performance, how you feel. And we all know that PMS week and water retention really plays on us in terms of body image. So let's talk about that as well. And I'm going to guide you through the common mistakes that people make and my female clients make when they come to me and they want to compete at their best self and level up that extra 10%, 1% and compete at their best because you're limiting yourself if you don't prioritize your nutrition and your hydration. So let's start with women are not small men, okay? Our energy requirements differ. How we utilize carbohydrates differ because of our hormonal fluctuations throughout our cycle. So underfueling is more common in women just because we have a history of diet culture. We've always taught to shrink ourselves. Consuming enough carbohydrates, protein, and to meet our adequate needs as an athlete is often quite hard when my clients first come to me. So hormonal fluctuations affect carbohydrate metabolism. We are more insulin resistant in our luteal phase and a little bit more insulin sensitive, which is a good thing in our follicular phase, the first part of our cycle. So leading up to ovulation, that's when we're going to be able to prioritize carbohydrates in our diet a little bit more effectively because we can use them better for performance. So key goals for HYROX nutrition. 1, fueling for endurance. Forget about dieting. Forget about aesthetics. Forget about trying to be a smaller version of you. If you cannot let that go, you are limiting yourself. And you need to address that as the first hurdle. You need to address your relationship with food, anything that is stopping you from shedding that skin and that level of constant monitoring of your food, but for a different purpose. This is intentional eating, not just awareness. We can all have awareness of our food. Oh, we know where calories are. We might know where some macronutrients are. Eating for purpose, eating for intent is where you as an athlete need to be with your food selections, your meal creations. So support strength and muscle recovery. You need to prioritize amino acids as the building blocks for your muscles. Let's think about this for a second. You do not have reserves of just protein floating around in your body day in, day out, unless you consume it. Because what we don't want is your body to eat through your reserves. And where are your reserves? Literally in your gains, in your skeletal muscle, your biceps, your whatever muscle groups you're focusing on. That is metabolic potential. And do not be mistaken that if you start under eating and overtraining, it is an energy resource that your body will use. So you need to be aware of that because don't be mad if you start losing muscle mass and you're training really hard and you're wondering why. Something is off balance. We're not meeting our energy requirements. And that's an easy fix. We just need to let go of some of the behaviors that are stopping you. And honestly, the fear around weight gain and being in a bigger body and fat phobia is the crux of most women's issues when it comes to competing at a higher level. Optimizing hydration. Women are more prone to dehydration at certain points within their menstrual cycle. I've said that already. We all know that 2% hydration can lead to a 20% deficit in performance. So that's not something that we can just know and be like, oh, not getting your 2.5 to 3 liters a day. You've got to be at that level because if you're not, you are not going to be replenishing the water content of your body. You are a walking swimming pool. You listening to this, watching this, are 60% water. You're a walking swimming pool at best. Dehydration is going to affect everything. Lethargy, mood, concentration, your performance, your skin, and we're already at a losing battle within certain points of our menstrual cycle, so let's not make this any harder than it needs to be. So we're going to talk about replenishing that and optimizing at certain points. What to eat pre and post HYROX. Now, everyone gets a little bit overwhelmed, over confused, overstimulated by just like trying to think, what do I eat? And with the world of social media now, everyone's doing what they eat in their day. Nutritionists are doing that, opening their fridges, content creators, fitness pros. It's so overwhelming to just be like, I don't know what to eat anymore. I'm so confused. You need to understand, what is it you like in food? And let's start there. Any client that comes to me with nutrition, I am not the Hitler. I do not dictate to them what they should be eating. I don't do meal plans. What I do is learn what you eat day in, day out and mold that. And I know some of you are going to be like, well, if I told you what I like to eat, I'll just be eating junk food all the time. You wouldn't, right? Like I said, we're eating for intent and purpose. I, as a coach, am the vehicle. You are the driver. We're going nowhere without you being intentional in what your goal is and working with that goal in mind first and foremost. That's number one priority. You, podium position at HYROX. Let's get mentally in the game there. Let's get your food on the plate there too. So, carbohydrate and protein focused meal, 1 to 2 hours pre-training. Now, carbs are king. For performance, for energy, it is your brain's primary source of fuel. So can we just cement that into the cells of our brain cells, let them be muscle memory as such? You need carbohydrates. And this week I've spent a lot of time telling my female athletes to increase their carbohydrates. That might not necessarily mean increasing calories. It just means working those macronutrients in percentage up. So more carbs, maybe a little less protein, a little bit more fats, playing around with those 3 tiers. So pre-workout, you want to prioritize your complex carbohydrates. If it's a little bit closer to your workout and it's going to be quite intense, focus on quick, simple sugars. We're talking fructose and sucrose sugars. So we can get them in any way that you want. You can go for dates. You can go for a banana. You can go for just a couple of Haribo sweets if you want to just prioritize that quick availability of energy and you're like about to get into the gym. You're not going to be shoving rice and protein and chicken down your throat whilst you're in the car waiting to go into the gym. That's just not going to work for anyone. Maybe you're at that level, fine. Like, you do you. But let's talk about like oats and banana and Greek yogurt, a really good combination of oats being your carbs, banana being your fructose, and Greek yogurt being a bit of protein source to have some amino acids. I don't want you to get so caught up in protein pre-workout, like carbs. If that's what we need to be focusing on. If you're an athlete and you want to be performing well, we can keep our 3 main meals as mixed meals, protein, fats, and carbs. Eat them. A couple of hours away from training, you're going to be fine. But if you want extra energy, please isolate the carbohydrates in their simplest form. Complex carbs need to be broken down in their bonds. Let's go back to like GCSE biology and like what they look like on a paper. The little hexagon or whatever they're called. I don't know, the cellular structure of it. Those bonds need to be broken down and digested in your body. Simple sugars, they don't need to go through that process. They're quickly, readily absorbed into your bloodstream and ready to go and utilized. So other carbohydrate and protein focused meals, toast, eggs, avo. Who doesn't love that combination? You've got protein and fats in the eggs, carbs in the toast, whole wheat. We're talking about fiber content. We want to make sure that we're getting fiber in our day. Gut health is important. We're talking about just general health and well-being. Then you've got avocado, good source of healthy fats. And then you've got eggs, as I mentioned. Then, what about smoothie with whey protein, berries, and almond butter? If you're on the go all the time, stop shying away from liquid energy. And diet culture will have drilled that out to you. Oh my God, you can't shrink any of your calories. If you're an athlete, and I have clients that struggle to get their food in, you best believe I'm going to be telling them to drink their meals if needed. Blend it, do whatever you can. Obviously, we're losing a lot of the mastication, like the breaking down, the enjoyment factor of being and sitting down with a meal, the fiber of already breaking down because we're blending things in its whole form and the skins of vegetables and things like that. Yeah, we're going to miss out on that a little bit, but we need to prioritize what we need to prioritize. Just get the energy in. So post-workout, within like a 45-minute window of eating, I don't want you to be like slamming down a scoop of whey as soon as you're walking out the gym. It's more of like a garage window. 30-minute anabolic window, forget about it. It's more like a 2-hour job. So as long as you're going to be consuming food within that time frame, you're going to be able to replenish what you've lost during your intense workout. Because it's going to be hard. I might not be competing in HYROX, but I coach so many women that do, and I've done many HYROX workouts myself. I know how taxing it is on your nervous system and your body, and you need protein and fast digesting carbs for your muscles to recover. You've got other shit to be doing in your day, let's face it. So you need to be getting to work, sorting out the kids, getting on with your life. The last thing you need to be doing is experiencing brain fog, muscle fatigue, all of these things that are going to be from a lack of nutrients and you prioritizing your food and your nutrition. So fast digesting carbs and protein. Let's go for something balanced like chicken, rice, and veg. Micronutrients, I'm always going to be looking and spot checking in my client's diary where that is in their food. Let's not mess around with that. I want to see veg and I want to see a lot of it for the fiber content as well. So try to get that in at least 2 of your meals if you can do. Lunch and dinner is probably going to be preferable, unless you're cooking it into an omelette or something like that in breakfast. Then you got salmon, sweet potato, greens. Same thing, different meal. Protein, fats, carbs, and veggies. Because let's think about this. Macronutrients are your body composition. Micronutrients are your health, your immune system. No veg, no colour. You're going to be ill all the time. It's just not going to help you be a healthy person in the inside. And then again, protein shake and a banana. Quick, simple, effective. A lot of bang for your buck. We're here for it. So let's move on to hydration and electrolytes for women specifically. Women are more prone to dehydration at certain points of the cycle, as I said, because of the hormonal fluctuations. Now, estrogen is actually more effective for you retaining water balance and your sodium content. So within the first 1 to 14 days of your cycle, day 1 being when you shed your womb lining, you're probably going to find that relatively easy. You might notice changes within your thirst and you might get that water on board and not be peeing that much, etc. However, when it comes to your luteal phase, you might find that the temperature increase with that hormone, because that's what it does. It increases your core temperature. You're sweating a bit more, maybe even more in your workouts. We've got to level up in those 2 weeks. PMS week, the week before that, day 14 to roughly day 28, whatever your cycle length is, we've got to be on our A game. We've got the electrolytes. We need to be focusing on magnesium for our bloating. We need to be focusing on sodium and potassium because we need to replenish what we're losing in our sweat. And we know that water doesn't do that. Back in the day, marathon runners were dying as a result of hyponatremia, which is low sodium content, because all they were shotting was water all marathon. More of them were women as well. Correct me if I'm wrong on that statistic, but we just need to be prioritizing our sodium content. And again, within diet culture, sodium is bad. If you're an athlete, you best believe you need to be prioritizing it. And you will find that your body's ability to function, your mood, your energy changes are going to be there when you start prioritizing it. And yeah, you can get sodium in your food. Don't shy away from salting that. But obviously excess sodium in junk food, processed food, I'm not focusing on that. We all know that that's not bad. That's kindergarten grade nutrition level stuff. I don't need to tell you that eating a load of processed sodium is bad for you. I'm telling you that you need to be intentional around your use of it. So, electrolytes, sodium, potassium, and magnesium. There's only 3 that you need to be focusing on here. Helps prevent fatigue and muscle cramps. So if I get any cramps, especially for women during PMS week, let's up the magnesium, please. Then 2.5 to 3 litres. On one of my client calls yesterday, she's like, "Oh, Didi, I think I'm at 1.5 litres. Is that okay?" No, that's not okay. 2, babe, minimum 2.5. Ideally, and especially in your luteal phase of your cycle. Okay, I know I'm going to die on this hill, but it's actually really important. And if you're sweating a lot, and you might think, my workouts aren't that intense, I don't sweat that much, you still need to prioritize it. Because if you're being quite low in your sodium content in other choices and eating quite clean and minimally processed, where's your sodium? Where? So, coconut water post-workout for the potassium. Then we've got Himalayan salt and water to replenish sodium. You might just want to add that into some water as part of your morning routine. And then magnesium before bed to support muscle relaxation. And also magnesium for pre-bed. I found that actually digestively makes bowel movements a lot more regular. I'm just saying if you're a constipated girly, then that's going to help you out. So let's think about that. And when we get those electrolytes in balance, we're at a better state of homeostasis and your body's not trying to have to fight that. And it's weird what the body does when it's out of balance. you know better than anyone. If something's off kilter, from thirst, from hormones, your body drives you to do things. And often those signals get mixed up and you just start like overeating because you're actually just thirsty. You start not paying attention to how your body is feeling. Let's talk about nutrition adjustments based on the training phase that you're in. Now, I don't know how long your training block is, so I'm just going to make some generic statements here. When you're in more of a strength and base building phase, and that might be the beginning of your HYROX training, depending on how intense it is. For those sessions, prioritize your protein intake for muscle recovery. We're talking like 1.6 grams per kilo of body weight to 2.2. And I know that might sound a lot. Again, another hill I'm dying on is trying to get women to eat over 100 grams of protein, because it's actually really difficult when our biological preference is fats and carbs, because hormonally, that's kind of what we want. And that's to protect our fat reserves for potential pregnancy and fetal development. And I've never met a man that does not like protein, okay? It's ancestrally, biologically wired into our DNA that women, we seek carbs and fats because we need nutrient density and energy density in our food choices, because, hey, we could be storing that for potential pregnancies. Whereas men, hunters, gatherers, they need strength, they need muscle, they are going to be drawn towards protein. So I know that's a weird take on it. That's just something that is inconclusive in evidence. So week 1 to 2, say if you're in a strength block of half of the month, then increase your protein intake, prioritize your complex carbs. We're talking quinoa, oats, whole grains, sustained energy. Now, a lot of people get like stuck on food choices. Be a repetitive eater if it works for you. I do not judge anyone on their food choices as long as it's working. I'm not here to fix what's not broken for you. I'm here to be like, well, you actually only prioritize simple sugars, and actually you're too low in carbohydrate if I'm looking at your plate. So how are you building your plate? Where's the complex carb in it? Is there rice? Is there pasta? Is there a grain of some sort? Are you having whole grains, sourdough, whatever it is, your preference just needs to be there as an ingredient. Then weeks 3 and 4, higher intensity, like more race prep and simulation days on the weekends, etc. Slightly increase your carb intake around your workouts. Maybe an extra snack, maybe a little bit of liquid energy from like an orange juice, maybe some sweets around it that just helps get that availability there. And then reduce your higher fiber foods. Now, I know I banged on about fiber and veg, because you do need to be doing that. But around comp day for digestion, I beg of you, I don't need anybody having more bowel issues on race day, whether it's a marathon, a half marathon, a HYROX, whatever it is you're doing. You're going to have to teach your digestive system that it's not going to be overwhelmed with the stress and the gut-brain axis. So lower your high fiber foods. Just think about maybe taking a veg down, even out completely, like the day before training, if you are susceptible to IBS and like always needing the toilet. Stress affects us differently, and I know many people who are around competition lose their appetite, and it screws them over on comp day because they can't eat. So then, beg of you, please start using some liquid carbohydrates, some snacks, do whatever you can to get that energy on board. But we do want to be prepared as best as possible and just get nutrients on board. So maintain your hydration and your electrolytes to avoid fatigue, brain fog, making your day as harder than it needs to be. And now let me recap the common mistakes that I see with a lot of my female clients, okay? Underfueling or skipping meals. If that is you, I'm telling you now, it ends as of me just saying this. No more skipping breakfast. And I know you're going to be back at me like, but Didi, I don't feel hungry. Get the food in. Because what I'm telling you now is I don't even know you, but I know full well you're going to become a fridge raider in the evening. You're going to be storing up all of that hunger that you're not listening to, probably because you're distracted, you're busy. Cortisol is high when we wake up in the morning. Often we've got things to be starting our day and getting on with. It distracts us. Appetite may not be there. But how is that working for you? Because if that's biting you in the ass over the context of a week, then let's fix it. Let's not be blind and put a health halo and put like a halo effect over, oh, but I fast in the morning and I skip breakfast and that works for me. It probably isn't working for you. And if you're an athlete, it certainly won't be working for you. So please, listen to me when I say complex carbohydrates, protein. Getting 30 grams of protein in your breakfast is possibly the greatest game changer that you can ever introduce to your diet. And if you're coming from a very low protein background, not really prioritizing nutrition that much, that's going to sound like a lot. And it is. I'm going to hold my hands up. Truthfully, it's a lot. But that's what we need to be getting to, especially if you have aspirations and that you're just in the beginning of your HYROX journey, you've just signed up, or you're even a pro and you just find nutrition the hardest cog of this puzzle to be sorting out. And I say that because nutrition is the hardest thing you're probably ever going to have to work on. Looks so easy on paper. It sounds so easy when I say it to you, but we're focusing on psychology here, habit and behavior change, and that is not easy. So any influencer, any person that shows up on social media trying to entice you within a 30-second clip, saying, it's so easy, just do this, this, this. You're not talking to a human being. You're talking to a robot or a spreadsheet that can somehow program calories and macros into it. I talk to my clients as if you are a human being. I want to know your daily schedule, what kids are involved in, what school clubs you got to go to, what does your day look like? Because if I don't know you, how the hell am I supposed to be helpful as a coach? Templates out there and coaching systems, they might work. You might take little bits of them that are useful. One or two things might stick, but it's not you because you haven't really learned anything from being dictated to. So I'm the vehicle, but again, you ain't learning anything because you're not driving. There's no foot on the gas and I ain't putting that gas on for you. I'm just the sat nav going, we going anytime soon? Do you want to start eating healthy? Do you want to compete well? Because you said you did, but we're not doing the behaviours that we need to, so how do we cross that bridge? It's all about mindset. Okay, so underfueling, skipping meals. That was a TED Talk you didn't need. Not eating enough carbohydrates. Stop shying away from getting your carbs in. If you track your calories on MyFitnessPal, then that's great. But it's interesting psychologically what I'll do, and I'll take a client who's really good with their nutrition and I'll play around with it. I'll be like, okay, today you're going to hit 300 grams of carbohydrates. How would that feel? And they're like, that sounds a lot. Well, does it? Why? Why does it sound a lot? It's just our perception. And most of it is fear of, like I said at the beginning, just gaining weight. And we need to get rid of that because your body's going to respond so well to being fed and nourished. You are limiting your potential until you get to that point. Now, I know a lot of people probably be coming to this, yeah, but Didi, I need to lose weight and I'm going to compete better. Not necessarily. Yes, we probably look at running and ultra running, be like, well, when I'm lighter, my times are going to be better. And it's this weird, disordered relationship with getting into a sport because you think it's going to keep you contained and controlled. HYROX is about strength, showing up, competing, resilience, showing that you can achieve things that you probably didn't think you were possible to. And that's such a beautiful thing. So don't deny yourself the energy availability to do that because you just kind of, shooting yourself in the foot. And, okay, so we've covered skipping meals, not eating enough carbs, dehydration, even 2% of hydration affects strength and stamina. And I guess if any men are reading this, a lot of these are going to be fundamental to you as well. I'm just cherry picking what's relevant to women specifically. Try new foods too close to race day. Don't be trying your mate's gel. Don't be picking a different restaurant that you don't normally go to just because you're traveling. If you're traveling to a venue a couple of days in advance of a comp day, you're going to have to still be on your A game. Be resilient. I know it's really enticing because there's probably socializing involved. It's fun, it's adrenaline, it's exciting. Food stalls on comp day. Do not be sucked in to changing your nutrition because of a feeling. Feelings don't play any part in intentional eating. And I'm focusing because the intent here is HYROX. If the intent was to improve your relationship with food, to be more spontaneous, to have fun, you know I'm going to be here for that. But what is our intent? What is our goal? Race day, good times, you competing at your best, intention over attention. Like I said, you can have all the awareness in the world of what you need to be doing, but what is the purpose of it? Okay, so that's a pretty much 25-minute TED Talk on HYROX Nutrition, especially for women. If you are struggling with your training currently and you're listening to this, or you're still at the beginning of your HYROX experience and journey, and you have got a whole host and journey of issues with food that you want me to help you with, and that you just still don't know what to do, changes you need to make with your nutrition, not somebody else's, then just reach out and I'll be happy to help you. I'm always available on social media, on Instagram, diddlesfrizzle, or you can just email me at didi@coachedbydidi.co.uk. So lots of love, guys. I hope this helps you in your HYROX journey. Go be an absolute savage. I'm proud of you. Let's go.